The Nevada desert stretched out empty and endless, with nothing but sand and rock under the burning sun. At the Mojave Research Station, deep underground where the heat could not reach, Dr. Holland sat in front of rows of computer screens, watching numbers and graphs move across the displays. His job was simple in theory but hard in practice. He watched the Earth's electromagnetic activity from deep below the ground. Was a geophysicist who had spent 15 years studying how the planet moved and changed. He was lean and focused, with dark hair that was starting to turn gray at the edges. His eyes were fixed on the screens, and he did not notice when his coffee had gone cold hours ago. The station was quiet. Most of the workers had left for the day, and the night shift was just 3 people, was alone in the main monitoring room when his screens started to show something wrong. The readings came from an area 50 kilometers southeast of the station, deep under the desert floor. The patterns were not normal. They did not match anything he had ever seen in 15 years of work. He leaned closer to the screen. The electromagnetic signature was too strong and too regular to be a natural event. It was not an earthquake. It was not a mineral deposit. Something was creating this pattern, and it was getting stronger. Picked up his phone and called the linguist who worked in the building next to his. Was younger, only 30, but he was smart and good at solving strange problems. They had worked together on several projects before. "I need you to come to my lab," said. "I have found something that does not make sense." 20 minutes later, walked in with 2 cups of coffee. He was tall and had light brown hair and blue eyes. He wore glasses that made him look scholarly and serious. "What did you find?" asked, handing 1 coffee to. "Look at this," said, pointing to the screen. "It appeared 2 hours ago. It started small, but now it is growing stronger. The signal is not natural. Nothing in nature makes this kind of pattern." Sat down and studied the screen carefully. He was quiet for a long time, which meant he was thinking hard. Finally, he spoke. "That is not from the Earth," said. "I do not know what it is, but that is not from here." "I know," replied, "but I do not know what it is either." They worked through the night, running tests and checking the data again and again. The signal kept getting stronger. It was not random. It was repeating the same pattern over and over like a beacon or a call, and both understood what that meant. Something was trying to send a message. At 6 in the morning, when the sun was starting to rise, called General. She was the head of military operations for the Western region and had worked with the research station before on issues of national security. She arrived by helicopter 2 hours later, bringing a team of soldiers with her. General was a tall woman in her 50s with short gray hair and a hard face. She had been a soldier for 30 years and had seen combat in 3 different countries. She did not believe in wasting time on talk or politeness. She wanted facts and answers. "Show me," she commanded, walking into the lab without greeting anyone. Showed her the screens. He explained what he had found and what it meant. General listened without moving, her face showing nothing. "How long until we know what is sending this signal?" she asked. "We do not know yet," said. "We only know something is there. We need more time to understand what it is." "You have 2 hours," General said. "After that, we move forward with a military response." She ordered her soldiers to set up a perimeter around the research station. They blocked all the roads leading in or out. They stopped all phone calls and internet connections, except for direct military lines. The station became a fortress overnight, and worked faster than they had ever worked before. They used all the tools they had. They mapped the location of the signal more precisely. It was about 40 kilometers underground, and it covered a huge area. It was not just a small object. It was massive. The size confused. It was kilometers across. "What could be that big?" asked aloud. "A ship," said quietly. "It has to be a ship." The word hung in the air between them. Neither man wanted to say it, but both knew what it meant. There was an alien spacecraft buried under the Nevada desert. By noon, General gathered everyone in the main room. She had set up military equipment everywhere. She had guns, cameras, and communication devices. She had soldiers watching every door. She looked at and with hard eyes. "Is the signal a weapon?" she asked. "We do not think so," answered. "The pattern repeats. It is not changing or growing more dangerous. It looks like a call for help, a distress beacon." "Can it attack us?" she asked. "It is buried 40 kilometers down," said. "It has been there for a very long time. It is not moving. Whatever is sending this signal, it is not a threat right now. It is asking for help." General thought about this. She was a practical woman. She did not like surprises, but she understood the situation. She could order an attack on the ship and destroy it before anything happened. But if it was right, if it really was sending a distress signal, then destroying it would be murder. You will find a way to communicate with whatever is down there, she said too, and you will find out what it wants and who sent it. You have 4 hours before I order a strike on the target. Nodded, I will do it. One more thing, General said. If this is real, if there really is an alien ship under our desert, then everything changes. Everything. The world needs to know, but not yet. Not until we understand what we are dealing with, until we know for certain this stays between us. Through the afternoon, and worked harder than they had ever worked. They built new tools to decode the signal. They used everything they knew about mathematics, language, and patterns. Used his training as a linguist to treat the signal like a language that needed to be learned. As the sun began to set, found something. In the repeating pattern there was structure, there was grammar, there was meaning. It is a language, said, his voice shaking slightly. It is actually a language. Looked at the screen and saw what was seeing. The aliens were not just sending random signals. They were trying to communicate. They were trying to tell someone, anyone, that they were still alive down there in the dark. The message took 3 hours to send, and worked with the military engineers to create a signal that could reach down 40 kilometers through solid rock and sand. They used the same frequency the alien ship was using, but they modified it, adding simple mathematical patterns that even beings from another world could understand. The message was basic. It said only one thing in dozens of different ways. We heard you, we are here. The response came back within minutes. The alien ship had been waiting. The pattern changed. The signal became clearer and more of it started arriving. Worked his fingers across the keyboard, using computer programs to break down the alien language piece by piece. They are sending information, said, his eyes wide. They are sending their whole database. They want us to understand them. For 3 days and 3 nights the data poured in and barely slept. They ate quickly and went back to their screens. Slowly the alien language revealed itself. It was logical and structured, built on mathematical foundations. It was hard for human brains to understand completely, but the basics became clear. The alien species called themselves their ship had crashed nearly 3,000 years ago. A hostile species called the Dominion had attacked them. They had been scientists and explorers, not warriors. They could not fight. They had run, but they had crashed during their escape. The crew had put themselves into a deep sleep, a stasis that could keep them alive for thousands of years. They had set the ship to send a distress beacon every 1,000 years, hoping that someday someone would hear them and help. Now 3,000 years later, humans had finally heard. They need help, said quietly. Their ship is damaged. They cannot wake up without assistance. The stasis systems are failing slowly. They have maybe a few years before the systems collapse completely. General listened to this information with a hard expression. She called a meeting with her commanders, and they sat in a secure room deep underground where no one could hear them. The question is simple, General said. Do we help them or do we destroy them? One of the commanders, Colonel David Hayes, spoke immediately. We do not know what they are. We do not know if they are honest. This could be a trap. The Dominion they mention could be coming here right now, using thee as bait. The data they sent is honest, said firmly. I know languages, I know how species communicate. They are telling the truth. They are scared. They are desperate. They are not trying to trick us. That does not mean thee is not coming, Colonel Hayes replied. We could be putting the entire Earth in danger. Stood up. If they wanted to attack us, they would have done it already. They have been sending that beacon for 3,000 years. If they wanted to use it to find us, they would have found us centuries ago. The probably does not even know where they crashed. Probably, Colonel Hayes said. That word is dangerous. General held up her hand for silence. What would happen if we helped them? What would they owe us? They would be grateful, said. They would remember that we saved them. In a galaxy that seems to have many hostile species, having allies would matter. Having allies who remember you risked everything to save them would matter even more. General stood and walked to the window. She looked out at the desert. She was quiet for a long time. Finally, she turned back to the men. We help them, she said, but we do it carefully. No one else knows about this yet. We keep it secret until we have more information. Colonel Hayes, I want you to bring in Tyler. He is the best engineer we have. He will help and repair the ship's systems. Tyler arrived the next day. He was a young man, only 28, but he had worked on military aircraft and spacecraft for 5 years. He was confident but not arrogant. He understood that this job was different from anything he had ever done before. Tyler worked with and to understand the alien ship systems. They sent instructions through the signal, explaining how their technology worked. It was different from human technology, but the basic principles were the same. Energy flowed through circuits. Systems used power to operate. Damage could be fixed if someone knew how to do it. Tyler climbed down into the excavation site where humans had started digging around the ship. The alien vessel was enormous, even partially buried. Its hull was smooth and dark, made of materials that seemed stronger than steel but lighter than aluminum. Symbols covered its surface, writing in the language. Tyler placed his hand on the ship's hull. He felt the cold metal under his fingers. This was real. This was really happening. A ship from another world was under his hand. "We need power," Tyler reported back to. "The ship is dormant because its power systems failed thousands of years ago. If we can give it even small amounts of power, I can turn on the repair systems. The ship can fix itself." And went back to through the signal. They asked how to give the ship power. The answer was both simple and complex. The ship used a certain type of atomic energy. Humans had the knowledge to create what was needed, but it would take time and special equipment. Went to General. "We need to bring in scientists from the outside. We need physicists and engineers who know nuclear technology. We cannot do this alone." General's face went hard. "If we bring in more people, the secret will spread. It will be impossible to keep this hidden." "I know," said, "but without them we cannot help we have to choose, General. Do we help them or not?" General made her decision. She called the President of the United States. She told him everything. The President listened and then told her to bring in a team of the best scientists in the country. They could keep the secret for now, but the President understood that eventually the world would have to know. Within a week, 12 more people were brought to the research station. They were physicists, engineers, and specialists in various fields. They saw the alien ship and the data and they understood the importance of what was happening. Dr. Caroline Morgan was the lead physicist. She was in her 50s with dark hair and intense eyes. She studied the data carefully and then looked at. "We can do this," she said. "We can create what they need, but we need to understand something. Once we help them, once they wake up, everything changes. We will have made contact with an alien species. We will have proven we are not alone. There is no going back from that." "I know," said, "but they are alive. They are asking for help. We cannot let them die down there in the dark. We cannot do that." Dr. Caroline Morgan nodded slowly. "Then we work. We build what they need, and we bring them back to life. And we hope that when they wake up, they remember that humans chose to save them." The work began in earnest. Every day, engineers and scientists worked at the excavation site and in the laboratories. Slowly, piece by piece, they built what they needed. And slowly, the day came when and could send a message down to the ship. "We are ready to restore your power," said. "We are ready to wake you up." The power system came online at 2 in the morning. The lights in the excavation site blazed with sudden brightness, and alarms sounded on the ship. The ancient systems, sleeping for 3,000 years, woke up confused and loud, and watched from the control room as the data changed. The ship was no longer dormant. It was alive and active. The crew was still in stasis, but the ship itself was waking up, checking its systems, running diagnostics on the damage from the crash. By morning, the ship had sent a complete report. They needed one more week to repair their stasis chambers. After that, they could wake the crew safely. Everything was going according to plan. But then the news leaked. Someone at the station had called a reporter. Within hours, every news organization in the world was reporting that an alien ship had been found under the Nevada desert. Within a day, every government, every military, and every major organization on Earth was demanding to know what was happening. The president held a press conference. He told the world the truth. An alien spacecraft had crashed in Nevada thousands of years ago. Its crew was still alive in stasis. Humans had made contact and had begun helping them. They were peaceful scientists, and they were no threat. The world's reaction was immediate and chaotic. Some countries saw opportunity. Some saw danger. Some wanted to help, and some wanted to destroy the ship before it became a problem. The United Nations called an emergency session. Governments argued about what to do. Some nations wanted to claim the alien technology for themselves. Others wanted to destroy the ship to protect Earth. A few wanted to help but their voices were quieter than the others. Was pulled from his work to speak at the United Nations. He stood before representatives from nearly every country and told them about He explained that they were victims of a war they could not fight. He explained that they had been sleeping in the dark for 3,000 years, waiting for someone to save them. "We have a choice," said his voice strong. "We can help them or we can abandon them. We can show the universe that humans are capable of compassion, or we can show that we are afraid of anything we do not understand. The choice is ours." The vote was close, but it passed. The United Nations authorized humanity to continue helping but many nations were not happy about it. Then they sent new information. They sent records of the war that had driven them to crash. They sent data about the Dominion, the species that had attacked them. They were not a small force. They were an empire that had conquered hundreds of worlds. They were warriors and conquerors. They did not believe in mercy or peace. They sent maps of the territory, showing how far away the empire was. They sent combat data and weapons specifications. They sent everything that would help humans understand the danger. Dr. Caroline Morgan studied the data carefully. She called into her office and locked the door behind him. "They are real," she said, her voice quiet. "Their weapons are real, and if they ever learn that they are here, they will come. They will not ask questions. They will not negotiate. They will destroy the ship, and they will destroy us if we are in the way." "How likely is it that they will find out?" asked. "That depends on how far their scouts have searched since the crash," Caroline replied. "They think there is a 1 in 3 chance they could discover the ship's location within the next year or two. After that, the odds get better. But they are patient. They might search for 50 years before finding anything." "Felt cold. What do we do?" "We prepare," Caroline said simply. "We prepare for the possibility that the will come." General called a meeting with the military leaders of the United States, Russia, China, and the European Union. They met in a secure location with no recording and no official record. The conversation was simple. "We may need to defend an alien ship from an alien empire," General said. "I want to know if you are willing to do that." The other military leaders were silent for a long time. Finally, the Russian general spoke. "If we do not defend them, we are saying that they can do anything they want to anyone they want. We are saying that might is right. I am not willing to send that message. Russia will defend the..." One by one, the other generals agreed. China said yes. The European Union said yes, and slowly more countries added their support. The preparation began quietly. Military units trained in desert combat. New weapons were developed. Scientists studied the weapons' technology and learned how to build Earth versions. Governments worked together in ways they had not worked together in decades. Tyler and his engineering team worked at the ship, helping to complete their repairs. Tyler spent more time inside the alien vessel than outside it. He learned how their systems worked. He helped them fix their engines, their weapons, their computers. One day, as Tyler was working deep inside the ship, he stopped and looked around him. He was inside an alien spacecraft. He was helping aliens from another world. Everything that humans had ever imagined about contact with other species was happening right now, in real time. "Are you all right?" asked over the communication system. "I am thinking," Tyler replied. "I am thinking that this is the most important moment in human history, and most of humanity does not even know what we are really preparing for. They think we are just helping some aliens. They do not know we are preparing for war." "That is why we have to be ready," said. "When the comes, and if they come, we have to be ready to show them that humans are not easy to conquer. We have to show them that we protect those we care about. We have to show them that Earth is not a target. We are a shield." The day came when the stasis chambers were ready. They had sent instructions for waking the crew. And Tyler stood in the control room with General and Dr. Caroline Morgan. They watched as the ancient systems prepared to bring 300 back to consciousness after 3,000 years of sleep. The captain's chamber came online first. On the screen, they saw a figure that was tall and thin with skin that seemed to reflect light in strange ways. It had 4 arms and large eyes. It looked alien in every way. It looked like nothing any human had ever seen before. This eyes opened, sent a message through the communication system. "Welcome back. You are safe now. We have been waiting for you." The responded and translated. The message was simple. "Thank you, but we need to talk about we need to know if you will help us fight." And understood, the hiding was over, the preparation was over. Now came the real test. Now they would see if humanity could be counted on or if they would turn away when the cost became too high. The alarm came at dawn. One moment the world was peaceful and quiet. The next moment, sensors lit up across every military base on Earth. A ship had appeared in orbit. It was not coming from the direction anyone had expected. It simply appeared, dropping out of space like something had torn the air open and let it through. The ship was massive, much larger than the vessel. Its design was aggressive and harsh, with sharp angles and protrusions that looked like weapons. It was the battle cruiser. General was in her office when the alarm sounded. She was awake within seconds and moving toward the command center. She knew what was happening. The time they had hoped to have was gone. They had found the ship. Was still at the research station when the broadcast came. The commander's voice filled every radio frequency on Earth, speaking in a language that they had taught the humans how to understand. "Primitive species of planet Earth, this is Commander of the Dominion. You are holding a vessel in your territory. You have 1 hour to turn the vessel and all over to us. If you refuse, we will take them by force and your planet will be destroyed. 1 hour. We are patient, but our patience has limits." The command center went silent. Men and women stared at screens that showed the ship hanging in orbit above Earth. The weapon systems were active. The shields were engaged. They were ready for combat. "All units to battle stations," General commanded. "Activate all defensive systems. Scramble every fighter we have." Within minutes, every military base on Earth was moving. Fighter jets roared down runways. Ships sailed out of ports. Submarine commanders received their orders. For the first time in human history, the entire planet was responding to an extraterrestrial threat. Called, "We need to coordinate with Captain. He is talking to us now. We need to understand what we are facing." The captain was already sending information. Was a brutal commander known for destroying entire planets that refused to surrender. He was not bluffing. They could destroy Earth if they decided to do so. The warship above Earth had enough firepower to reduce the planet to cinders in hours. But Captain sent something else too. The weapons systems were online. They were weak compared to the ship, but they were functional. If humans could provide support, if they could coordinate their forces with there was a chance. Requested an emergency video call with General. "We cannot win in a straight fight," said. "Their ship is too powerful, but we can make them hesitate. We can show them that we are not the primitive species they think we are." "How?" General asked. "Surround the area," said. "Put every military asset we have in the air and on the ground around the research station. Show them that we have mobilized. Show them that this planet is united and ready to defend the Commander expects us to panic and surrender. If we do the opposite, if we show strength and determination, he might hesitate long enough for negotiations to happen." General thought for only a moment before nodding. "Do it." The order went out to every military command in the world. Fighter jets were sent to hover over the Nevada desert. Soldiers marched toward the research station in long columns. Warships moved into position. Submarines surfaced, showing themselves as a sign of strength. It was not subtle. It was meant to be visible. Tyler watched from inside the excavation site as military equipment moved into position all around them. Tanks rolled past. Artillery units set up their weapons. Helicopters filled the air. The entire Earth was saying the same thing and the message was clear: you will not take these aliens from us. The commander's response came quickly, and it was different from before. Sounded surprised. The broadcast crackled with static and anger. "You dare to resist? You are primitive and weak. You have weapons that are thousands of years behind our technology. You will be destroyed for this defiance." But Commander did not attack. He did not order his weapons to fire. Instead, he demanded another conversation. General took the communication herself. She sat in the command center with and beside her. She spoke clearly and with no fear in her voice. "I am General of Earth. I speak for the military forces of this planet. They arrived here thousands of years ago. They asked for help. We chose to help them. We have given them refuge and protection. They are under our protection now, and we do not surrender to threats." A long silence followed. Could see the ship on the screen, still hanging in orbit, but it had not moved. His response came slowly, and his voice was different. He sounded almost interested now. You understand what you are saying. You understand that I can destroy your entire planet. Yes, General replied. And you understand that if you do, you will face the united military forces of an entire world. You have one ship. We have billions of soldiers and weapons systems spread across a planet. This is our home. We will defend it to the last person if we have to. They are cowards, said. They ran from war, they hid from battle, and yet you defend them. You risk your entire species for refugees. Yes, said, speaking even though it was not his place. We defend them because they are alive and they asked for help, because that is what we do. That is what makes us human. The word seemed to echo through the radio waves. Human. Alive. Those were simple words, but they meant something to and to everyone listening. Another silence came. This one was longer, finally spoke again. You call yourself human. I have read the data, the scent. Humans come from a harsh world. You kill each other. You destroy your own environment. You are violent and chaotic and unpredictable. I expected you to be easy to intimidate. I expected you to surrender without fight, yet you do not. Yet you stand here knowing you will lose and you say you will fight anyway. Yes, General said simply. The Dominion has conquered 473 worlds, said. We have defeated species that were more advanced than you in every way, but I have never encountered a species that would face certain death to protect someone else. I have never seen that before. The ship moved. Everyone in the command center held their breath, but instead of attacking, the ship activated its engines. It was moving away from Earth, pulling back into space. You are not primitive, said. You are dangerous. You are more dangerous than any warship because you do not fear death. You do not fear pain. You only fear losing those you care about. That makes you unpredictable and strong. The Dominion does not need unpredictable enemies. We will report to the High Council that they have been found and protected by an emerging species. We will note that you are not to be underestimated. The ship jumped to hyperspace, tearing a rift in the sky and disappearing before anyone could respond. For a moment, the command center was completely silent. Then, a cheer started. It began with one person and spread to everyone. They had faced an alien empire and they had not backed down. They had shown strength not through advanced weapons, but through unity and determination. Looked at and saw tears in his friend's eyes. 3 weeks after the left, the ship was ready to leave Earth orbit. The repairs were complete. The crew was awake and healthy. The vessel was fully functional for the first time in 3,000 years. But before the ship departed, Captain requested a meeting with the humans who had saved his people. Stood in a special chamber that had been built inside the research station. The chamber could be sealed and pressurized to match the atmosphere. Tyler and stood beside him. General waited in an adjacent room that was connected by transparent glass. Dr. Caroline Morgan watched from the observation deck. The door opened and Captain entered. He was tall and elegant, moving with smooth, deliberate motions. His skin reflected the light like polished metal. His forearms were graceful and strong. When he saw, he stopped and bowed his upper body in a gesture that seemed to be respect. I have no words for what you have done, Captain said through the translation device. His voice was deep and resonant with harmonics that human voices could not create. When we crashed 3,000 years ago, I thought we would die here in the dark. I thought no one would ever hear our call, but you heard, and you answered. You risked your world to save mine. Bowed in return, unsure of what else to do. You asked for help, we could not turn away from that. In the Dominion, power is everything, continued. The strong survive and the weak are destroyed. This is the law they follow. This is the law they try to make the entire galaxy follow. But your people do not follow this law. Your people saved us even though you had nothing to gain. Even though you risked everything. Your species is remarkable. We are just people, said quietly. We saw someone in trouble and we helped. His large eyes seemed to focus on with intense interest. You call yourself people. That is a word that means life with value and importance. You use it for your own kind, but you have extended this honor to us as well. You have treated us not as aliens or threats, but as people deserving of life. This is not something I have ever encountered in any civilization in the galaxy. Over the next days and spent hours together, the captain shared information about the galaxy that made his head spin. There were hundreds of intelligent species. Some were peaceful and some were aggressive. There were alliances and wars and politics that spanned star systems and centuries. But also told about something else. There was a coalition of peaceful species that had been hiding from the Dominion for generations. They were not warriors. They were scientists and builders and explorers. They had been waiting for someone strong enough to stand against the without being conquered. We had given up hope, said. We thought they would eventually find us all and destroy us. But now the Council of Peaceful Species wants to meet you. They want to know if Earth would be willing to join us. They want to know if humanity would help us protect ourselves against the... Felt the weight of that question. It was not just a simple ask. It was an invitation to join a galactic community. It was an invitation to be part of something larger than Earth alone. I will present this to our leaders, said, but I think I know what the answer will be. The President of the United States called an emergency session of the United Nations. Every nation on Earth had the right to vote. The question was simple but enormous. Should Earth join the coalition of peaceful species? The debate lasted 3 days. Some countries were afraid, some were excited, some worried about the cost. But in the end, the vote was overwhelming. Earth, as a planet united for the first time in history, voted to join the galactic community of peaceful species. Was chosen to be Earth's first ambassador to the coalition. It was a responsibility that terrified him and humbled him at the same time. He was not a diplomat, he was a scientist, but he understood he had helped save them. They trusted him. The day the ship departed, stood in the excavation site and watched as the vessel prepared to leave. Repairs had been made to the damage from the crash. The ship gleamed under the Nevada sun, its strange hull reflecting the light in ways that no human-made material could. Captain emerged from the ship to meet one last time. The captain held something in his hands. It was a small device, no bigger than a human hand. It was beautiful and complex, with intricate patterns carved into its surface. This is a communication relay, said, placing it in his hands. It will allow you to contact us across the distance of space. We will respond within days, no matter how far away we travel. This is our promise to you. You saved us, and we will not forget. If you ever need us, you only have to call. Felt the weight of the device. It was more than just technology. It was a promise. It was proof that the connection between humans was real and would last. What will you tell the other species about us? Asked. The truth, replied. We will tell them that a new species has emerged on a harsh world, a species that values life and protects the innocent, a species that stands against tyranny and chooses compassion. We will tell them that humanity is not something to fear. Humanity is something to respect. Tyler came to stand beside as the ship began to lift off from the ground. Dust swirled around the vessel as its engines activated. The ship rose slowly, carefully, as if it was reluctant to leave. As it climbed higher and higher, sent a final message through the communication relay. The message was simple, but it carried all the emotion and hope that felt. Thank you for letting us be part of something greater than ourselves. Goodbye, friend. And from the ship's response came back. Goodbye, Holland, until we meet again. The ship broke through the clouds and disappeared into the stars. For a long moment, the 3 humans stood in silence, watching the empty sky. What happens now? Asked finally. Now, said slowly, we prepare for a larger role in the galaxy. We build relationships with other species. We help create peace instead of war. We show the universe what humanity can do when we work together. Tyler looked around at the research station that had become so important. The whole world knows now. Every person on Earth knows that we are not alone. That changes everything. Yes, agreed. It does, but maybe it changes things for the better. Maybe now, knowing that we are part of something bigger, humans will finally learn to take care of each other. Maybe knowing that the galaxy is watching will make us better people. That night sat in his laboratory and looked at the communication relay. It glowed with a soft blue light. Through this device, he could reach across the stars and talk to friends on worlds he had never seen. Friends who had trusted humanity with their lives. The excavation site had already begun closing down. The military presence was being reduced. Life was slowly returning to normal in the Nevada desert, but knew that normal had changed forever. The age of Earth in isolation was over. The age of humanity as part of the galactic community had begun. He activated the communication relay and sent a message not to but to his people, to all of humanity. We have been given a chance to be something more. We have been given a chance to show the universe what we are made of. We are not the species, we are not the strongest, but we are capable of something many species are not. We are capable of choosing to do the right thing even when it costs us everything. We are capable of love and sacrifice and standing up for those who cannot stand for themselves. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us worthy of this moment. And that is what will define us in the eyes of the galaxy for generations to come. The message traveled through space at faster than light speed. Humans on every continent received it, and slowly the world began to understand. They were no longer just inhabitants of Earth. They were now citizens of a galactic community, and they had a responsibility to show that species that made the choice to help others were the ones worth remembering, worth protecting, worth befriending. The future was uncertain, but it was no longer lonely. And for the first time in human history, that future belonged to everyone. We did it, said. We actually did it. But understood that this was not the end. This was only the beginning. They had left, but they had learned something important. They had learned that humans were not easy targets. The galaxy had just learned what it meant to make an enemy of Earth. Yes, said, we will help you, we will fight. And on a screen in the ship, the captain's expression changed. Whether it was alien or human, gratitude and hope looked the same. For a moment there was no response. Then a simple message came back through the signal. Thank you. And in that single word, everything changed. We need to answer them, said. We need to let them know we heard. General stood beside them, watching the screens. She understood what this moment meant. The world had just changed forever. An alien ship lay buried in the Nevada desert, and it was alive. Send the message, she commanded. Tell them we are here.